I had the great opportunity to observe at Delaware Elementary School. Delaware is located in Evansville, Indiana. Delaware is a K-6 school in the EVSC. I did 4 observations, each a half hour long, in a classroom at Delaware to learn a little more about teaching. At Delaware Elementary School, I had the opportunity to observe in Miss Haggerty's kindergarten classroom. Miss Haggerty's room is located on the first floor of the building along with the other kindergarten classrooms. Miss Haggerty had 1 teacher assistant and 1 student teacher working with her in her classroom. When it comes to learning theories, I think Miss Haggerty focused on behaviorism. Behaviorism focuses on the teacher's active role as a dispenser of knowledge. In behaviorism, students practice individually, and I saw this every day I went to Delaware when the kids were in 8 stations. Every time I observed in Miss Haggerty's room, the students were working on literacy stations to improve their skills. Each student was at a station with a couple of children, and they would work for a while until Miss Haggerty would tell the students to do a silent cleanup and to go to the next station. There are 8 stations total. In behaviorism, it talks about incentives and rewards for motivation. Miss Haggerty would be at one station with about 5 kids, and at the end of the station, she would give a kid 2 Skittles for being good, listening, and learning. The teacher assistant and student teacher would do the exact same. There are so many opportunities in Miss Haggerty's class for the children to learn about oral language. For one of the stations Miss Haggerty would be at, and she was working with children on rhyming. And she would give the children 2 words and would ask if they rhyme. And if they did, they would have to put their thumb up. And if they did not, they would be asked to put their thumb down. One day I observed Miss Haggerty was sitting at her station with some students, and she had a slinky and was stretching out words. For example, she said, "Let's stretch flag," and she pulled the slinky and said, "Flag," and closed the slinky real fast. She then told the students to write what letters they heard. Miss Haggerty focuses a lot on phonemic awareness. One day she was working at her station with some students and said, "Let's spell you. Y-O-U." And then she said, "Now, close your eyes and spell you." The children would close their eyes and say, Y-O-U. One day I observed the student teacher teaching children about the sounds the letters make. One day she had an activity where she would pull a letter out of the bag and say, "Hi, I'm Mrs. P. Can you say hi, Mrs. P? I make the sound P. Can you say P? Now, can you say bye, Mrs. P? Bye, Mrs. P." The teacher assistant was at a station working with children on phoneme addition. She said, "If I chop off the C and can and add then what do we get?" The children then said man. She then focused on syllables. She said, "How many syllables does dress have?" The children then said 1. Then she said, "But how many sounds?" And they said 3. Miss Haggerty definitely had differentiated reading instruction. Most children are beginning to read when they enter kindergarten, but some are more advanced. So Miss Haggerty has a wide variety of books throughout the room for the students to read. One station is even set for independent reading. There is also a station that reads books to children. In Miss Haggerty's classroom, there is a window full of new words that the students had learned. She has pictures drawn next to the words as well to get a visual representation of that word. The classroom also had the alphabet draped around the room so the kids could look at it for a reference. Miss Haggerty had a wide variety of technologies to use. She had a station where the kids would have a read-along with technology. Students would hit play on the cassette player and would wear headphones and listen to a story being read to them. Students were to follow along with the reader with the books that were provided at the table. There was also a station that had iPads and computers so that the children could play letter games and learn their letters. Reading is very important, especially in the younger years. One day, Miss Haggerty took time to individually listen to a child read a sentence in a book she gave to them. She gave a child a book and told the child to read a sentence, and then she would praise them and then go to the next child. She did this in a small group of 5 kids so they wouldn't feel pressured. When one child would read, the other 4 would read alone. Writing was encouraged a lot in Miss Haggerty's room. Kindergartners are just learning to write, so they need as much practice as they can get. Miss Haggerty had a bulletin board that had the steps of the 6 traits of writing on it. Students may not know what this process means, but they will learn, so it is a great visual for them. One day I was observing, I heard the teacher say that it was our writing day. This meant that they were focusing a lot on writing. That day, the teacher assistant was working with some students and going over punctuation. She would write a sentence and leave out the punctuation mark at the end. She would then ask a student what punctuation mark should go at the end. The children usually replied with period. One of the stations that the children go to is a station where they practice writing their letters and writing words. One day the teacher assistant looked at one of the children's work and said, "Next time, I want you to sit your letter on the ground," meaning he didn't write in between the lines. He went over the line. She also said, "It goes from sky to ground," and showed him how to draw a T on the paper for a visual. Children need to be encouraged and praised for their reading and writing skills so that they learn to enjoy it instead of hate it. I observed that Miss Haggerty hangs up students' works out in the hallway to show the kids that she enjoys what they have done and wants to show everyone what they have accomplished. In this picture, it looks like the child is in the emergent stage of writing. She also has many opportunities in her classroom to learn to write. One day, I observed the teacher assistant teaching the children how to make letters, and she said, "Use your baby pointers to make an E. You go right, circle up, and go down, and then stop." She also showed them how to make an S and said, "Watch me write an S on the table," and made an S. I am so glad I got the opportunity to observe in Miss Haggerty's room. I believe Miss Haggerty's methods of teaching works amazing. Her students respect all of the teachers, and Miss Haggerty seems to really enjoy her job. I think the students are learning a lot and that they will be ready to move on to first grade with a great understanding of reading and writing.